This video is all about aesthetics, that is, how a product looks. The way a product looks doesn't happen by accident. A designer may be trying to create a futuristic, modern product, or they may be trying to appeal to a market that would prefer a more old-fashioned look. The way a product looks may even help us to understand how to use a product, e.g., a change in texture or colour may tell us that is how you are to hold a product. A red switch on the side of a product may tell the user that's how the product is to be turned on and off. In the most straightforward of questions, you're expected to be able to use the following terminology to describe how a product looks. Simply describing what you see using these terms. The terms are colour, texture, contrast, shape, style, form, and material. In slightly more tricky questions, you may be asked why a product looks a certain way. On the screen now are several different products, all with a different look and feel. As they appear on the screen, ask yourself, how might I describe these using the key terms such as colour, texture, contrast, shape, etc. So if we are to take these terms one at a time, colour is simply which colours are used within the product. Are they bright colours, silvery colours, blacks and whites and so on? Perhaps even primary colours. These would definitely give our product a certain feel. Do we see any particular textures used within the products themselves? Or is the product very smooth or rough or rubberized parts, for example? One term that would be very useful to get your head around is contrast. So we're seeing contrasting colours, contrasting textures, contrasting shapes. Discuss this when you're talking about the aesthetics of a product. Similarly, shape. Is the product mostly round, square, angular, jaggy? Discuss the shape of the product itself. The style means, is it old-fashioned, modern, futuristic, retro? These types of words. Try and describe the style of the product that you see. Form is very similar to shape in that it discusses the actual look of the thing. What are you seeing? Is it curvy lines meeting straight lines? Is it lots of round lines? Material, you can discuss the materials used within the product itself. Are they sleek, modern, futuristic materials? What sort of feel does it give the product? Does it make it look particularly old-fashioned or futuristic, for example? So I've added in some comments around the side of this page so you get a feel of how you might answer these questions in an exam. For example, we can see in that top left the round ends contrast with the angular middle part, and I've added that it's a playful use of colour. With the kettle next to it, there's a contrast in style with the white modern body and the spout of the kettle being two different materials. In the top right, the chair, we have straight lines, angular. This is us discussing the shapes that have been used. The one below that, we're discussing the modern, futuristic style. So again, whenever you're asked to discuss aesthetics, you're going to be using these terms that are in the middle to try and describe how the product looks. As I mentioned right at the start, sometimes the aesthetics actually help us to understand how to use a product. So if we have a look at that one in the kind of bottom middle towards the right, perhaps a light lights up to tell us how to actually turn the thing on and off. Perhaps the light changes colour to allow us to know that it's actually performing a different function. So that's aesthetics in a nutshell. Again, aesthetics is all to do with how the product looks. If you're comfortable talking about these terms that are in the middle, you should find the aesthetics questions no problem at all. Remember that the most commonly used one is to talk about contrast, contrasting shapes, contrasting styles, contrasting materials, and so on. Okay, thanks for listening.